Hi, this is Carl Johnson and Lilly Ferrick, and we're so excited to welcome you to Optimistic Opportunities. I am so excited today, and I'm so honored to have Lilly with us. She is one of the most positive, energetic, just this amazing positive driving force that I've known for over a couple decades. We were just talking about like how long have we known each other? We're like, I don't know. It's been a really long time. Um, so we are just so excited to talk to everybody today for a brief 15 minutes and just share about ourselves and our lives and our methodologies of how we have stayed positive and been thoughtful also about people that are having hard times as well during this pandemic, but keeping ourselves lifted up, keeping others lifted up, and what we're doing and how we do that. And that in no way is ignoring people that are having hard times now. But I was really driven to come up with some idea or something that I could do to help lift people's spirits, because I've always been this optimistic, positive person. And so this seemed very natural for me to do. So a little bit about Lilly, and then we'll jump into what we're going to talk about. Lilly works inside sales for companies. She has her own company that does that, mostly in the healthcare segment. And so why don't we go ahead and start our talk now. So hey, Lilly.
Hi, Carl.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. And I'm excited to say we've known each other this long, like way before my hair was gray.
Me too, at least on this side.
I know.
So the first thing I want to ask you about is what are you doing to stay positive in this environment and looking for what I call the silver lining in every cloud, not just the silver cloud, but the silver lining in every cloud. What are you doing? How are you getting yourself in that space?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, so there are a number of things that I think it took a while, right? When we realized, oh my goodness, we're going to be on lockdown and in captivity for some time. I think early on, I didn't have a big picture that here we would be May 14th and still be in captivity. I think I just hadn't thought about it long term. But one of the things that has really kept me is that, and this is not going to be new information, you may have heard this before, but I already had a really good routine for my life before. I also had a really good, sound, content life. And so I really made
optimistic opportunities. Sorry, technical difficulties there. Go ahead.
No problem. So I've really maintained my routine and even honed in my routine and kept my routine on lockdown. And I think that not, uprooting a whole bunch of things in my life has allowed me to keep my life stable. And then as a result, when things are stable, you're able to see, find some positive things. And honestly, Carl, it always starts with what you think and what you believe. So you can wake up every day and think, here's another day that's same old. And I can hang on to that thought. And then I can walk through my day with that belief that today is same old. Or I can have power over my thoughts first thing in the morning and throughout the day and think, same old allows certain things to be leveled out so that you can see the sunshine. I mean, today was a great example. One of the silver linings in all this is I have spent more time talking to neighbors across the street, 15, 20 feet away while I'm walking the dog. And many of those neighbors were at work and I might have known them very briefly, but now we actually get to visit. And that is one of many silver linings. This morning, I walked out to put something in the mailbox and there were two neighbors outside my house, and they were visiting for 30 minutes across the street from each other. And I'd never seen that before. So, it's really opening your eyes and looking for it and noticing, but it really does all begin with what you think and what you speak, and therefore what you believe.
Exactly. And I think that's the intentionality of taking care of your mental well-being, is that setting it up in your brain so that you can actually put yourself in a much more positive space. So one thing that I've always done, and I've had to pay more attention to it now, is the night before, I'm thinking about the day I'm going to have tomorrow.
Yes, that's great.
And I'm committing to what I want to accomplish tomorrow and how I can help other people tomorrow. And, how am I going to interact with my family tomorrow? And how am I going to be, in this world, on this earth, helping other people? So I was super jazzed about this. I was like, oh my gosh, Lilly and I are going to hopefully make a difference in people's lives today. So, yeah.
Yeah. I love that idea about the day before. I have an end of day routine, and I will oftentimes at night write down my intention, but I think you gave me some ideas in making it even more clear about what I'm going to make my day look like tomorrow.
And the one thing I really liked hearing you say is, you set it up in your head of how you want it to be. And I also do that, at night before I go to bed. I'm like, okay, when the alarm goes off, I'm going to get up. I'm going to go do some reading so I can feed my head.
Yep.
And my brain with some really good content. Then I'm going to do my 10 minutes of meditation so I can continue to make my brain more settled every day. It feels more settled, and if something challenging comes back, I can turn back to a more of a meditative state and say, okay, this is not that big of a problem. I can ground myself again because I meditate every morning. And then I, go through the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So what I heard you say was so important is setting up that routine. I mean, I'm a very routine-oriented person, as you know. And that's been like, what I've been grabbing onto. Is like, I'm white knuckling my routine. I must work from 9 to 5 every Monday through Friday, doing something for my business, and holding my feet to that fire so that I am, I have a purpose, I have a drive, I understand what I'm doing, and I'm not sitting on the sofa all depressed and be like, oh gosh, this is horrible. I'm like, oh, this is a great opportunity to reinvent yourself, to think of things differently and reach out to people. So I've been reaching out to people a lot more during this time and just checking in with my friends and making sure they're okay. So, yeah.
That's awesome. There was something you said that I wanted to piggyback on. We can come back to it because I can't remember what it is right this moment.
Okay. So here's an interesting little question for you, because you're such a goal-oriented person. So what new goals have come to mind for you because you've experienced this reset?
Yeah, love that question. So a couple of things. I'll talk about personal first, and it's personal / work, and then I'll talk about a work goal. But as far as personal is concerned, one of the silver linings has been, because I'm not driving anywhere throughout the day, I'm able to work very concentrated hours during the day from about 8:30 to 5. Sometimes I finish up at 4, but sometimes it's as late as 5:30 or 6. But they're very concentrated, intentional hours to work. I don't dilly-dally outside of those hours much. And it's really allowed me, when I try to shut down at 5 or 5:30, whatever that average time is, I give myself some wiggle room. But when I shut down, I'm done. I actually have a notification on my phone for my work email that it sets up, not a timer, but I think the iPhone has a setting. I can't get into it unless I unlock the setting. So when I'm finished, I'm finished. So while that's not a concrete goal with a number, it has been a boundary that I have set. And truthfully, once we're out of these restrictions, life will open up and I won't be able to have that 100% of the time again, because like, when you and I go to the Washington Duke and have a 2-hour lunch, well, I might have some things to do when I come back home that day.
Yes, you might.
Because we sat and sipped tea and ate good salad for a long time. But
yeah.
It has definitely, it will make me more intentional when we return. What are some things I won't do during the day that are maybe not as valuable as I thought, or some things I'll say no to, so that I really can have that end of day work boundary and have that clarity. One of the other goals I set for work, for instance, was some hiring goals. And in my business, I personally am much more visionary than I am an implementer. And that has its ups and it has its downs. And the upside is I dream a lot and can come up with a lot of good ideas. And the downside is I don't always know how to implement them. And, but this time has allowed me to really quiet my mind and set some granular implementation goals. And so one of my goals for this quarter has been in building out a better hiring process, for example, a better onboarding process for new team members. And so those are some goals, and they may not seem like they're huge goals, and we're going to improve the process, and those may not seem like these big, hairy, audacious goals. But for someone like me, they actually are big, because some of those things don't come naturally to me.
Right.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, so I have a similar experience where I know we were talking before we went live that not running around like a chicken with your head cut off and going here and there like a pinball and a pinball machine, really has allowed me to just be more present with myself, with my family, in the space where I am. It frees up my mind to think clearer. I come up with memories that I'm just like, oh my gosh, that memory just came up. That's really interesting. What a great memory. So it's put me in such a different space.
Yeah.
Where, I hate to say it, but I've enjoyed that. I've enjoyed having this pause in my life and being able to regroup things in my life and place things in a better light for me and for my family. So I've really enjoyed that. And one thing, I'm looking forward to doing is really discerning upon how I'm going to continue to implement some new things after we're able to like go out and play.
Right.
And for me, it's like, I'm gonna be like, let's jump on a Zoom call. We're like, nope. Okay, well, I want them to, handle it this way, because I think we've learned so much that, there isn't a necessary act of jumping in the car and going and do that, because it can be done in a different way.
Right.
So I've really been thinking about that a lot.
Good.
Yeah.
Sorry, my dog's barking in the background.
It's okay. That's awesome.
This is COVID life, man.
Mine is downstairs. I'm like, shh, hope he's quiet. We are at 2:45, 15 minutes into this. So we probably should pay attention to everybody's time. Is there anything else that you wanted to just free flow as we tie up a thought, an aha moment?
An aha moment from all of this. I honestly, Carl, there have been so many. There have really been so many aha moments, and I think they just continue. I think, really, you can decide what swirls around in your head. And when it comes to thoughts and words and then beliefs, sometimes things start with a thought. Sometimes they're just a default behavior. And then you have to go back and think, why do I say or do those things? And go back and give some thought to your thought to realign your thoughts, or just change your thoughts. And I really think that that's it. And I think also is being, really considering the conversations that you have with people, and the ones that lift you up versus the ones that take you down. And frankly, I know very few people that I know some people who are suffering. Many people I know are in good shape, in the sense they haven't lost the roof over their head. They might have lost some income, but they're certainly not without food. And so, I've just really chosen to engage in more of those conversations, because they lift me up, they lift the other person up, and then it makes the sunshine exponential. And so that became my motto a couple of weeks ago, where I realized, I know for my husband and I, we have been extraordinarily blessed. We're not without work. We're not suffering any hardship, and we're not sick. Therefore, it is my job to spread sunshine. Like, that's my daily duty, however that looks. And so that's my final thought in all this.
That's awesome. And I've felt that same way as I'm calling around the different people I know and reaching out to them, and just concerned about, like, when I call them up and say, how are you? Is everybody safe and well? And I just sort of hold my breath. And I'm like, what are they going to say? So some conversations have been, more challenging, where they're having some hardships, but they're really looking at it in a positive way. And they're like, we're going to get through this. We're going to be okay. And
yes.
So.
And I think also is, if you can yourself stay filled up when you do come across friends or family members who are in great worry, legitimately in great worry. I knew a woman recently who both her children were residents, MD residents, and were both in harm's way every day, all day. So here you have a mom and a dad going to bed every night, wondering if they would get a report that their children, had been infected. And so when you stay filled up, then you're able to really hear people who are in hardship or in great worry or living through a season of fear. And so the more that you can keep yourself filled up, the more you can avail yourself to other people.
I think some of the hardest, situations and conversations I've had are, some friends or family members in Manhattan. My sister and my mother in the Upper West Side of Manhattan, and it's tough. It's kind of like the epicenter.
Yeah.
But they're making it through it, and we're sending them food from Zabar's through Instacart, and for Mother's Day or for my sister's birthday, and just trying to spread a little sunshine on them and Zoom with them more often. And so it's really, the Zooming thing has been interesting, because I've been in contact more with people than I have in the past, with family and friends, and seeing them. So we haven't seen them, but we've seen them through Zoom. So it's been really cool. So but anywho, Lilly, thank you so much for joining us. This was so amazing. You're such a ray of sunshine, and
Thanks,
such a
Carl.
driving force.
Thank
amazing.
you. Thank you. It was great to be here. This was so much fun to be with you, and I look forward to the day that we can go back to our favorite table over there and have a little lunch and talk some business and shop.
Yes, definitely.
Yep. All right. Take care, Carl.
Thank you so much, Lily.
Bye.
Bye.